Shalom. I'm going to say all praises and honor and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Ruchakwadash, double honors to the apostles of GMS who rule well, who I learned this truth from, and salutations unto you, hopeful elect out there, coming back again to the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. This is going to deal with a few scriptures dealing with the bloody men on the planet. Basically dealing with these bankers, right? As you see the title, all right, banksters and warmongers, and it's dated June 7th, 2019. I'm just gonna read and then bring up certain scriptures, but basically I'm gonna, Lord's will, through the Spirit. I was listening to the apostles, man, and they made a very, very, very great point about the Rothschilds, first and foremost. But all these elites, they are the bloody, violent men on the earth. They actually like it. They like violence and blood, right? So this is I'm gonna read. War is profitable. The Rothschild family have funded the losers and the winners of all wars since the Napoleonic Wars of 1803 to 1815. They fund both sides so that whichever side wins, they profit. In 1850, Napoleon Bonaparte is campaigning against Wellington. Jacob Rothschild in Paris funds Napoleon, while Nathan Rothschild in London funds Wellington. Soon, the family decides that it is more profitable if Britain wins the war, as the British royal family is indebted to the Rothschild family. Thus, Jacob limits the funds to Napoleon's army. Knowing that Britain is winning the war, Nathan starts selling off his British bonds in lump sums. Other traders conclude that France must be winning and Britain losing. They also dump their British bonds in large sums. As a result, the price of the bond plummets and becomes very low. Once Nathan sees that the other traders have sold all their bonds, he begins buying them back at ridiculously low prices. And these are tricksters, man. These are deceivers. That's their job, man. That's their purpose, right? When the news reaches the ordinary citizen that Britain has won the war, the value of the British bond rises so high that Nathan makes a huge profit. Ever since, the Rothschild family used their money and power to design the economies of other countries in the world. They also create economic crashes to make a profit out of them, just like they do in Britain in 1815. And the Rothschilds, this is a little history, and it's good to go into this information. And just as a side note, for brothers and sisters that are watching, the word Rothschild, the word Roth is red, and child, it goes back to shield, which is interchangeable with basically a child. So when you go into the etymology of Rothschild, it actually means the red children, which is synonymous with what? Edom, right? Because it tells you, Genesis 36, Esau became Edom, which the Edomites are the nation of Esau, right? And what does Edom mean in the Hebrew? Adawam, which it means red. So red children, or red children, Rothschild. So they're showing you, and they know that the blessing, the ball is in their court, so to speak. They have the blessing right now, right? It's their time to rule. The family's patriarch, Meyer Amschel Rothschild, is a Jewish financier and a personal banker of the German royals. In the year 1760, he begins a banking business in the city of Frankfurt. Over time, he accumulates a huge fortune. Now, I don't see them mentioning this here, but I'm going to mention this. This dude, Meyer Amschel Rothschild, he changed his name to Rothschild. And that shows you, man, again, this dude was, I'm not saying he was Esau, but what do I know? He might have been, because that's a spiritual move. Before the name Rothschild, he actually made that name. That wasn't their family name. Their family name was, his name was Meyer Amschel Bauer. When you look up the word Bauer, it means servant. It means a servant, man. That shows you Esau knows he's a damn servant, man. It tells you the eldest shall serve the younger. Esau came out first, he's the eldest, but he's gonna serve us, man. The Jacobites, the Israelites, right? So that just shows you this dude's like, look, I know I'm an Edomite, Rothschild. That's a spiritual thing, man. You know, that's crazy how that happened. It says Amshal has 5 sons, and 5 is the number representing power. So that's the thing the Most High set up, who established banks in the European cities of Vienna, London, Naples, Paris, and Frankfurt. Together, they coordinate the banking activities of all of Europe. They lay the foundations of banking and form close relations with the ruling families in the countries where they established banks. Practically every member of the Rothschild family is very rich and occupies a position of immense power. This multinational banking family is a byword for wealth, power, and discretion. Their wealth is primarily in the world of banking. All right. However, they have and these Amalekites. Okay, I'm not going to use the other word. And these Amalekites, their whole thing is usury, right? Interest, right? When you look up in America, you had the dollar that was backed by gold, right? Now it's fiat currency. It's not backed by anything, right? In Canada, we used to bring this out years ago when we first came out. When you look on the bill, it tells you it's legal tender. When you look up that word tender, it means something very delicate, very soft. It's not a strong currency. It's actually a made-up currency. You know, they tell you as a kid, money. You know, you hear it all the time. Money doesn't grow on trees. Well, you have a foreign institution known as the Federal Reserve. This is not an American institution. This is a foreign institution set up by the bankers. They print money. They print dollar bills, right? And you niggas are talking about dollar bill, y'all. Listen, they print these bills, and it's around 4 cents. 4 cents per dollar, right? To create the bill, it costs them 4 cents, which leaves 96 cents on top of the interest that they charge you, right? That the banks charge. So listen, this is a win-win. This is a no-lose situation for these elites, man. And at the end of the day, they create that bubble, they create that debt, which will further create inflation, which right now we're in the stage of it can hit hyperinflation any day. Here in the GTA in Toronto, the gas prices are just insane. Right? It was cheap as hell, man. It was nice in the summer. I remember the summer, and then the fall and winter took a dip. And this shit is very hot right now, right? So reading on, I'm going to skip, right? Because this is actually dealing with other families. You can read this. It's very good, right? And they don't really hit in this article that the Rothschilds also, they used to bring in ships of with opium and sell it in China. And the Chinese government got fed up. And they said, look, our people are becoming addicts, man. This is messing up our people. This is making our people degenerates, man. And they turned away, you know, the sales. And, you know, through the Rothschilds, they basically brought in the gunships, the Navy. And they had I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there were at least 2 opium wars, if not 3. And after that, they had a treaty signed, which I forget the name, but it was the name of a city, which basically allowed, look, they said China, you know, forfeits, we give up. And the Rothschilds made them sign an agreement saying, look, we can sell all this opium legally. You're not going to do anything. So guess what? That was Job 9:24 time, man. And you know what time we're in right now? We're in 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. Right? We're in the transition of it says Jacob held the heel of Esau. Your heel represents your foundation, right? Also here, I'm not going to read this, but this is dealing with the Rockefellers about the oil. Another thing that I don't see them mentioning is a lot of oil they got. Like, for example, the Ford company, all the rubber they needed for the tires, they got it from the Amazon. It was called the rubber trade, and it was actually certain people term it the rubber genocide. And you can look up pictures of it where they show indigenous, basically the tribe of Asher in the Amazon. They were chained up, they were put in slavery, and they had to get the sap from the trees, which turned, basically they used for the rubber. And that was done through the Rockefellers, and that was another bloody thing, man. See, these things, there's going to be a lot of charges listed against Esau on that day. The Most High said he's going to plead with all nations for Israel's sake, man. And you're just going to be having to listen. Look, this is this year, this what happened, these charges, and it's just gonna keep accumulating. And Esau's going to turn red as hell, man, because his charges are going to mount up the most. Ishmael's going to get it, Hamites are going to get it, Moabites are going to get it, but they're going to be a little light, man, in the head, so to speak. You know, they're not going to, Esau's going to be nervous, man. You Edomites are going to be very, very nervous, man. Okay, you're going to defecate, man. You're going to just bug out, man. You're going to defecate on yourself, you know? You're just going to bug out. Because you're going to hear all these charges. You thought the Most High wasn't seeing it, right? The scripture says they think the Most High is as them, basically. So they set up America, God bless America, right? One nation under God, you know? Let's bring out Ezekiel 28, verse 12. Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, thus saith the Lord power, thou sealest up the sum, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. And this is dealing with basically you Edomites, going back to Esau, going back to Cain, which was the spirit of Esau, going back to the serpent in the garden. And this is what it's dealing with. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of the Most High. Every precious stone was that covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth. And I have set thee so. Thou was upon the holy mountain of the Most High. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou was perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created till iniquity was found in thee. And guess what? That's what it means by these are perfect devils, man. You know, they're doing what they're supposed to do. Their nature is set a certain way. The point is here, verse 16, by the multitude of thy merchandise, they have filled the midst of thee with violence. So what was your merchandise? Mainly captivity. What you Edomites today, you're so concerned about human trafficking. You were the CEO of human trafficking in the world, man. Right? Then you collected, and what was the goal of trafficking these humans who were Israelites? To get them to reap resources for you, merchandise, cotton, spices, wood, lumber, precious gold, silver, precious stones, precious substances, right? You got very rich, man. You sold the you know, obviously the slaves, which you got a lot of money, man. And it came with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain of the Most High, and I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. And it mentioned profane, and all you got to do, you got to scratch your head and think, oh, what scripture links up with that? That's in the book of Hebrews, man. Hebrews 12:16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Right? Profane, when you look up the word profane, it means outside the temple. So you Edomites, you're not with the Most High. You're not part of the sanctuary of the Most High. You can't build with the Israelites. You can't be saved. If you're an Edomite, you cannot be saved, man. Verse 17, thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness, right? Don't they call themselves the Illuminati, which means enlightened ones? Lucifer, light bearer, right? I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings that they may behold thee. You're going to be nothing, man. That's why it says in the book Isaiah, they shall narrowly look upon you. You know what that look like? That side look like? Look at this motherfucker, man. This was that demon. You know, this was the guy, Burns from Simpsons. Damn, Rothschild, Jacob Rothschild. You know. I will lay thee before kings that they may behold thee. Thou hast defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thine iniquities, by the iniquity of thy traffic. Which traffic means what? Business. What was his business? Rape, robbery, murder. John 10:10, the thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. And who's the thief? Go into the book of Zechariah 5:1. Them chariots, that's a curse unto the house of the thief, man. And them chariots are going to do damage as well before the missiles even, and during the missiles. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of thee, it shall devour thee, and I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold thee. All they that know thee among the people shall be astonished at thee. Thou shalt be a terror, and never shalt thou be any more. And do you know why? Because you're going to be Obadiah 1:18, man. And Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. This fucking nightmare is almost over, man. We talk about the hour of temptation and hell, all hell breaking loose and martial law, but this thing is all done, man. There's no more Columbus. There's no more manifest destiny. There's no more captivity. There's no more colonialism. There's no more GMOs. And soon there's going to be no more you damn Edomites, man. You damn devils, man. Soon you're going to be gone. But you got to serve that hard-ass captivity. You got to get your back whooped, boy. You got to get that fucking back whooped. Right? And let's go to one more scripture. Same book, Ezekiel. No, sorry. One moment. So this is the book of Ezekiel 35:1. Moreover, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir. That's your homeland. Never mind the Caucasus Mountains. Your homeland is Mount Seir. Look up where that is, man. In Greek, it's called Petra, which means rock. That's where you get the word Peter from. Peter is Petra, which means a rock. And that's why Yahweh said, upon this rock shall I build my church. Because Peter was the head. And prophesy against it. The Most High is not with you, Edomites. He's against you. And say unto it, thus saith the Lord power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and it means anywhere these Edomites dwell. It doesn't mean, oh, what city is in Mount Seir in the rocks, in the caves over there. You have to remember, we used to, the ex-head of this camp in GMS Toronto, he always used to bring this out hundreds of times on the highways and amongst us in private when we used to congregate and read the scriptures. He would always say, it's a people before it's a place. So the place is named for the people, not the people for the place. So it doesn't matter like when you read the scriptures and it mentions Jerusalem sometimes, it doesn't necessarily mean that city right now. It means those people wherever they dwell, right? And that makes sense because the place is named for the people's sake, right? Verse 5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, perpetual meaning continual, right? Because after captivity, you didn't do anything. You had emancipation, which means a transferring of property from one owner to the other. You created the prison system, the prison convict lease program. You had Jim Crow era. You had all kinds of persecution, perpetual hatred. And has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, which that's your blessing is a sword, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So we're living in a hell of a time, man. Like in one of my favorite movies, in The Matrix, forget the guy's name, but it's the guy that set up the computer and he does all the programming. It's a Jake, and he's like, we're living in exciting times, Neo, right? These are very exciting times. This is the end. This is the climax, man. This is where you want to be. Because you know why? All this shit's ending. This wicked-ass place is coming to an end. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out and him that returneth. Right? And that was pretty much the point, you know? So with that, I want to say, Kal Halalim, Le Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rechakodash, the blindness to the apostles of GMS, who I learned this truth from, and salutations and blessings upon you, hopeful elect. I hope this is edifying. Shalom.